This is the Infinite Receiving Podcast, helping conscious leaders like you tap into a wealth of abundance across all areas of your life and business. My name is Susie Ashworth. I am a single mom of 3 and author of the Sunday Times best-selling book, Infinite Receiving: Crack the Code to Conscious Wealth Creation and Finally Manifest Your Dream Life. On this show, I'll be sharing with you how you can upgrade your identity and your reality to create the life that you have been dreaming of. Because you are ready to be an infinite receiver. Hello, you gorgeous human being. It is me, your host, Susie Ashworth here, and you are listening to the Infinite Receiving Podcast. And I am coming to you after a week of grief, frustration, anger, pain. It's been really, really full on. And what's been interesting is that one of the things that has been so helpful, so nourishing, as it has always been, is being able to be in service. Really being able to hold the space and support other people in a way that I know is meaningful, that is making a difference, and that is really allowing me to have some respite from everything else that is going on the outside. And I am seeing this, I am hearing this with so many people. The world feels deeply, deeply heavy right now. And for so many reasons, so many of us women feel like we are literally bearing the weight of everything that is happening. Shoulders slumped, lower backs ache because this weight not only feels heavier and heavier, it's relentless in the heaviness. And so when you take what is going on with the world and then you combine that with any of what you are experiencing personally, for those people who also have layers and layers of personal things that they are dealing with and feeling like they have to hold, the last time the world felt this heavy, I really feel was around COVID time. And there was just a sense of confusion and cognitive dissonance. The difference in the energies is that there is so much more rage now, justifiably. Of course, there is so much more rage at the injustice, the inequity, the inequality of what is going on with those who have the power, the men that have the power, and all those that don't, especially women. So the type of question that has been coming up over and over again is like, how do you deal with this? How to deal with a really intense world? How to deal with things when things are so freaking chaotic? And I've been looking at how I have been dealing with things, and I want to share this with you today because our work has never been more needed or more important. For those of us who are helping leaders or stepping forward as our own leaders, this world is screaming out for consciousness. It's like, McFly, is there anybody in there? Wake up. Wake up. There's nobody in there. There's nobody home. Or the person who is in there is rageful and angry and hateful. So right now, we are required, conscious human beings, women especially, to step up, know our greatness, to choose power, to choose potency. That's what's being asked of you by our planet. They need us, they need you. Your voice is important. You have a message that needs to be shared. And like, I get it's really hard to want to show up right now because we're being bombarded. Some would say that that's the point. one of them anyway. Let's just keep loading them up, loading them up, loading them up until they give up. And I say, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We have to do this for ourselves and we have to do this for our children. We have to use our influence for good. We choose to operate from a higher level of consciousness. And I say all of this knowing that none of it's easy. I say all of this having had numerous days where I would be very, very happy just to camp out under the duvet. Very happy indeed. And if you, like me, are a single mom and you have one, two, or like me, three kids, that's not an option. Not for any long period of time, anyway. So, how do you deal? Well, this is what has been going on in my world, the way I've been supporting myself and my clients. So, first of all, is just acknowledging where you're at. It's so easy to swallow it. I think that we have been trained into swallowing it for our entire lives. There can be this, oh, I'm being dramatic, I'm making it about me. There's other people that have it much harder than me, so who am I? There's also the part of us who are just really, really freaking angry, rageful, you know, being able to say, this is where I'm at. Some people feel re traumatized, some people are sad. You know, the full range of emotions is what we are experiencing. And being able to say where you are at, being able to acknowledge where you are at without trying to sweep it under the carpet, pretend that your feelings aren't important, or unconsciously project out all of that fear and anger and rage. Unconsciously projecting that out into the world is also not good. But you might feel like wanting to do that. I have certainly over the last week or so at times just thought, I just want everybody to hear how sick to the stomach I am of this. I just want everybody to know how much I hate this, how much this traumatizes me. And really, for the first time ever in my career, I have had to stop myself. Not because I don't feel that it's valid, but because I know that energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only be transmuted. And so when I consciously contribute to hate, anger, rage, there's something that doesn't sit right with me because the world has so much more than enough of that right now. So for me, being able to acknowledge that I wanted to, but having the self discipline to be able to refrain from actually doing it has been very powerful. But it's really the acknowledgement. That's the first thing that you have to do. The second thing, I suppose, that I want to share, this is not really something that I think that you need to do, but what I have noticed is important it is to heavily curate what you are looking at and really be aware, bring that awareness to when you see enough of the same thing, which is exactly what happens the minute you click on anything on the internet, you're just shown more and more and more and more of it. It's easy to get yourself whipped up into a frenzy. It's easy to feel really, really disheartened and despondent. It's easy to feel really happy or joyful, depending on the messages that are reinforced and reinforced and reinforced and reinforced. It's really easy for that to influence how you feel. And when I see such hopelessness, which is often manifesting in anger, the projection of anger, you have to make sure that you are taking time where you are plugged out, where you are not under the influence of anybody else's thoughts, because there is like a Chinese whisper of emotions that are just being passed from one person to the next person to the next person. And What's interesting is that, at least this has been my experience, rather than the emotion diminishing, the rage has got louder. And look, it's really important for me to say I feel rage and I am not condemning anybody who is publicly sharing that. I'm really not, because I understand it. And I also know that energy can't be created or destroyed, and I don't want to contribute to any more. But being aware of the collective and, is this my feeling or is this somebody else's, is really, really helpful. Which leads me on to the next piece, is you have to keep deciding who it is that you want to be. So again, the importance of feeling your feelings, the importance of acknowledging where you are at, cannot be understated. There is no space for bypassing. There is no space for turning a frown upside down. We have to feel our feelings, otherwise, ultimately, all we're doing is re traumatizing ourselves. And we also get to ask the question, who is it that I desire to be? How do I want to look back on this time? How do I want to talk about my role in this to my grandchildren? And again, there is no right answer to this. I have got friends who have just decided enough is enough. And every single post that they share is dedicated to their activism, to sharing information from their perspective, empowering people to think and act differently. And that is a very, very conscious choice. It's not what I could do. It's not what I choose to do. So for me, the choice is, what do I want to be responsible for? What's the energy that I want to be responsible for? When I think about the impact that I desire to make, what feels like the most aligned way for me to make that impact? These are the questions that you get to ask yourself. That is going to help you determine what does go on your Facebook page, what you do write about on Instagram, how you show up in the house, how you consume the news and the media. Do you turn into a keyboard Kevin because you allow the rage to overcome you? Or do you decide where you want to channel your activism in a way that might inspire or move people to think differently? Get out there on the pavements, in the demonstrations. Who is it that you want to be? And knowing that, you can then start to act accordingly. And when you're thinking about who it is that you want to be, think about that from a character perspective, but then also think about it from who you want to be in business. Think about it from the role ambition gets to play in all of your visions. And again, don't get it twisted. Ambition doesn't have to mean I'm making 2 million in the next year. Ambition in this context means I desire to speak my truth, to be the type of person who speaks her truth, even when it feels uncomfortable. I want to be that person. Okay, great. We now have a template for what that looks like. I want to be the type of mother where my child feels comfortable sharing with me about anything and everything. Okay, great. So if that's the type of mother you want to be, what are you going to need to do, or who are you going to need to be? Well, I'm going to need to be somebody who is really able to connect with her child. Okay, what do you know about connection? I know that connection is formed through trust and understanding and communication. Okay, so what does that look like? It's from the knowing who it is you want to be, you can start to reverse engineer what it is you're going to need to do in order to be that person. And in being that person, you're creating a pathway. You've got vision. Being this person, whether you're aware of it at this precise second or not, is going to lead you more deeply into your purpose. This is with the assumption that the version of you that you are choosing to be is ultimately connected with the part of you that understands the importance of coming from love. It's where we started this conversation. It's about being in this world and operating from a higher level of consciousness, which means putting hate, fascism, abuse, disrespect aside and choosing to see everyone as human and being able to operate from that place of decent human respect. And honestly, when I say all of this, please just assume, you don't need to clarify, that I'm talking about people who are operating like within the confines of the law. I don't want you to take the most depraved human being and be like, Is this what you're talking about now?" Because the answer would be no. And also, to clarify, I do believe that even criminals should always be treated as human. I don't believe that anybody should be treated as though they are inhuman. But the context here that I'm talking about is, who do you want to be? How do you want to operate in this world? If we imagine that the world is impacted from the top down, but revolutions are started from the bottom up. So, if we want to be the revolution, if we want to be the women who change things, who are we going to need to be? How are we going to need to operate? We know that we don't have to do it like Margaret Thatcher. Getting really, really clear on the role that self care has to play in dealing with this level of intensity. What is nourishing for your heart? What is nourishing for your body? What is nourishing for your soul? How can you look after yourself? Where do you need to, again, plug out? Who do you need to unfollow? Who do you need to delete? Who do you need to stop getting into debates? So you're consistently in this fight or flight survival mode. Know what self care looks like for you and then honor it. And then the final thing for me in how I have been dealing with this time is coming back to this idea of the pillar of greatness, which obviously is deeply entwined with who it is that I want to be. But it's remembering that no matter how hard it gets, everything will be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. It's remembering that. It is really choosing to believe that it's no mistake that I am here at this point in time. It is no mistake that you are here at this period of life. We chose this. We chose this and we chose the mission, which is remembering who the fuck we are. So, from that place of knowing your greatness, there we get to speak into the greatness of others, call them in and call them up to their next level of impact. It's appreciating that every message that you share has the potential to do good in this world, and allowing that to be your fuel, really not letting the bastards get you down. Understanding that your smile, your heart, your pleasure, your willing to love, all of those are displays of activism. All of that stuff is part of the revolution. And alongside that, making sure that you are telling people how they can work with you. You are selling, you are financially empowering yourself. All of these things as a woman are revolutionary acts. And so, in between the acknowledgement and the self care and the observing of my behavior, the willingness to keep coming back to, who am I? Who am I really? Who are you? Who are you really? You are stronger, more powerful, more beautiful, more tuned in, more self-aware, more ready, more resilient than even you know right now. Even with everything that you have gone through, there is so much more. And you know what? I hear anybody who says, I don't want to take any more. I get it. And for those of us who are ready to honor the call, again, I come back to we chose to be here at this time for a reason. I have to believe that. I choose to believe that. And I believe that for me, and I believe that for you. And everything that I have said still stands. You've got this. The one thing that I didn't mention here, which is super important, is somatic work, moving your body and allowing the energy to move through, the emotions to move through. I think that what has been true for this very specific time, the alchemizing of this emotion has not been the focus, because feeling it and giving myself permission to feel it has felt important rather than trying to throw it down like a hot potato. But of course, when it comes to dealing with the intensity of what is going on in the world, I love me some somatics. And I love that for you too. So whether that is, walking, dancing, yoga, or 5 rhythms, or specific trauma release work, I don't mind. Breath work, I don't mind. But that gets to be a part of it too. Anyway, this is it from me today. I hope that this has been helpful. If you have been having a tough time, I want you to hear me when I say I send all of my love. And I am holding the vision for all of us, especially our children, that together collectively, we can change things in this world for the better. And all that change that gets to happen, that has to happen, requires us not just to lead others, but to lead ourselves. That requires humility and power and resiliency, intelligence, kindness, and compassion. And all of those things have to be applied to ourselves first for us to be able to do that in any type of powerful and meaningful way. So, with all that being said, again, if you have enjoyed this episode, please do me a favor, share it with somebody that you care about. And in the meantime, I will see you or be in your earbuds next week. Please remember that faith plus action equals miracles. So, stay in the game.
Thank you for listening to Infinite Receiving with me, Susie Ashworth. I'd love to share with you my Infinite Receiving activation audio. Go to susieashworth.com/activate infinite receiving.